My name's Brian. I'm 45. I live in Texas, alone now. Most days I work with my hands, repairing things others gave up on. HVAC systems choking on dust. Chainsaws with burned coils. Old engines that scream like dying animals until I coax them back into obedience. I like that kind of work. There's a satisfaction in it. You take something that's broken, trace the fault, put it right. When it starts working again, there's no debate, no emotion, no gray areas. It just works. That's not how families operate. They don't break clean. They rot, quietly, from the inside out. 7 years ago, I met Carolyn. She came into the hardware store looking for a ceiling fan bracket. Talked like someone used to doing things herself, but just this once. Needed help. She had this gentleness about her, worn, a little distant, but not cruel. We talked. She smiled. I offered to come take a look at the fan, and before I knew it, I was fixing her water heater the next weekend. 2 months after that, I was sleeping beside her. A year later, I was carrying boxes into a house I paid for but didn't yet feel at home in. Carolyn had a son, Trevor. 13, gangly, all sharp elbows and quiet moods. His dad lived in Nevada, called once or twice a year. Sent a gift card that never had enough money on it. When Carolyn told me about him, she did it with this apologetic look, like she knew it would complicate things. I told her I didn't mind, and at the time I meant it. I never had kids of my own. It wasn't for lack of trying, just bad timing, worse luck. So when Trevor came into my life, I told myself, this is my shot. Not just to be a partner, to be a father. Maybe not in blood, but in deed. In weight carried. In love shown. The first thing I did was refinance the place. Carolyn's lease was up. I didn't want her scrambling again, moving Trevor's school to school. I told her, let me take care of it. So I signed the mortgage myself. The house needed work and I did it all. Gutting the bathroom, replacing cabinets, fixing the AC, even putting in a new fence by hand. Every Saturday, every Sunday. No hired help. Just sweat, tools, and my will. I furnished the place, too. Couch, table, fridge, washer, dryer. Nothing fancy, but solid. Things that last. I picked them because I thought, this is our foundation. This is where Trevor will grow up. This is where we build something steady. For a while, it felt like it was working. Trevor didn't call me Dad, but he said my name. Brian had warmth in it. He helped me paint his room, pick out a desk. We built it together, laughing when the screws didn't line up right. I drove him to basketball, even stayed late to watch the games. I bought him a computer for school. He thanked me, smiled even. When he left his science project in the car overnight, I drove it to school myself before work. I didn't ask for a parade, just a nod. A look that said, I see what you're doing. I see you. But as the months turned into years, that look stopped coming. He got older, taller, quieter. His laugh dried up around me. He stopped coming to the garage when I was fixing things. His sentences shrank. My name lost its warmth, became obligatory, like a placeholder for someone else. His father, maybe. The only time his dad called was holidays. Sometimes he'd text a photo of some mountain or a sports car and caption it with, thinking of you, champ. Trevor lit up when those messages came, like the man was Zeus sending lightning bolts from Olympus. Meanwhile, I was hauling lumber to fix the porch, missing meals, dragging myself into work after 2 hours of sleep because the water heater broke and I wanted it fixed before school started. I told myself this was just adolescence, that teenage boys pull away, test boundaries, that respect comes slow but steady, that one day he'd look back and see the truth. But time passed, and instead of getting closer, we just got quieter. I started noticing the little things. How he never thanked me for Christmas gifts anymore, just unwrapped them and moved on. How he'd walk past me in the hallway like I was drywall. If I suggested something, chores, plans, advice, he'd go straight to Carolyn. She'd repeat it, then he'd listen. My words alone weren't enough. And Carolyn, she didn't see it. Or maybe she did and chose not to. Maybe that was easier. There's a kind of erosion that doesn't scream. It just scrapes you down year after year until you're dust. Then came the moment. I just finished a 12-hour shift. installing a duct system in some godforsaken attic, my arms and shirt soaked with sweat and fiberglass. I came home, boots caked in dirt, my knees aching. Trevor was on the couch, legs up, scrolling his phone like the world owed him a favor. I said, "Hey, bud." He didn't look up. I walked into the kitchen. Carolyn was making something with the oven on low. I asked how her day was. She shrugged, gave a half-smile. The kind you offer strangers. Then Trevor spoke. Loud enough for both of us to hear. Still not looking at me. "Let's be real," he said. "You only got this house because Mom needed a place to land." He didn't say it with malice. That's what made it worse. He said it like it was obvious. Like math. I stood there, key still in my hand, fingers frozen. My boots still wet with dust. My heart caught behind my ribs like it had hit a wall. Carolyn heard it. I know she did. She looked at me, then turned back to the oven. Didn't speak. Didn't flinch. That silence? That was the sound of 7 years cracking. I didn't yell. I didn't slam anything. I just stared at Trevor, this boy I had fed, clothed, supported, defended. I looked at Carolyn, this woman I had carried, made a home for, and I thought, they really believe that, after everything, after all of it. To him, I was the guy who made the mortgage possible. Not a father. Not a man to be respected. Just a key holder. And to her? Her silence said enough. That night I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of the bed, boots still on, and stared at the floor. I played the sentence over and over in my head. Let's be real. You only got this house because Mom needed a place to land. That's all I was. A landing zone. A convenience. At 3:14 a.m. I got up, went to the office, pulled out every paper I'd kept, mortgage statements, renovation receipts, school payments, grocery bills, holiday purchases, medical copays. I lined them up on the desk. Proof of my presence. My effort. My years. The deed was in my name. The utilities, too. The insurance. The bank account funding every month of groceries and gas and gifts. I stared at that pile of papers until sunrise. Then I made a decision. Something turned in me that night. Not anger. Not revenge. Just clarity. I didn't speak to either of them the next morning. I left before the sun, drove to a job an hour out, changed a condenser fan motor with my hands still aching from the night before. I worked slower than usual. Not from exhaustion, but from calculation. Thought followed me like smoke. Every stripped wire, every rusted bolt. I saw the same sentence etched over it all. You only got this house because Mom needed a place to land. I came home to silence. Carolyn said dinner was on the stove. I said I wasn't hungry. Trevor didn't look up from his laptop. I showered in the dark, standing under the scalding stream like it could burn the last 7 years off me. The next day, I made the first call. The realtor's name was Diane. I'd done some HVAC work for her cousin 2 summers back. Just curious. I said, "What's the market look like in our area right now?" She laughed, told me it was a seller's dream. "You thinking of listing?" she asked. I paused, then said, "Yeah, maybe I am." She came by the house 3 days later while Carolyn and Trevor were away at her friend's birthday weekend in Houston. I told them I had a job out in Temple. That wasn't a lie. I just didn't tell them what kind of job. Diane walked through the house with a notepad. "You've kept it in great shape," she said. "Upgrades in all the right places. Curb appeals strong. You'll get a lot of interest." We took pictures. Set a listing price. That same afternoon, I changed the locks. I didn't leave a note. I didn't give a warning. I installed a coded lockbox on the front door, loaded it with a single key, and took the rest with me. Then I waited. They came back Sunday evening. I parked a block away and watched it unfold from the driver's seat. The sun was just dipping behind the trees, casting long shadows over the lawn. Carolyn's car slowed, then stopped. Trevor got out first. He walked up to the door, tried the handle. Locked. He turned to say something, then noticed the box. I saw him crouch, poke at it. Carolyn came next. She hesitated at the steps, like her body understood something her mind hadn't caught up to yet. Then she saw the sign. I had Diane put it up that morning. For sale, by owner. Trevor turned, shouting something I couldn't hear. Carolyn stood still, one hand to her mouth. Then she fumbled for her phone. It rang in my pocket. I let it ring out. She texted. Then again. The second one had more bite. Then a third. What is this? What are you doing? I didn't answer. I waited until they left. Then I drove back and slept inside my house. Quiet, undisturbed, for the first time in years. The next morning, she was waiting, sitting on the porch like a stray. When I opened the door, she stood. Her eyes were puffy, red, but her voice was steady. You're seriously doing this? Over one sentence? I didn't blink. It wasn't one sentence. She crossed her arms. So you're just selling the house? Kicking us out? No, I said. I'm selling my house. Your guests. That ends now. Her jaw clenched. And what about Trevor? What about school? His room? His room is my room. All of it is mine, Carolyn. You're being cruel. I looked her dead in the eye. No, I'm being honest. For the first time in 7 years. She stepped back. This is about your pride. I almost laughed. You think I worked 12-hour shifts, missed birthdays, patched your son's braces and gas bills out of pride? This is about survival, Carolyn. Mine. That night, Trevor called. I let it ring. He sent a message instead. This is so petty. You're ruining everything. I read it once. Deleted it. The next few days were chaos. Carolyn begged for time. At least let us stay through the school year, she pleaded. I said no. Because if all I ever was to them was a wallet and a bed, then they didn't need me, just my money. And I was finally done mistaking servitude for love. Trevor tried sabotage. I found out through Diane. He showed up during a house viewing, shirtless, blaring music from a Bluetooth speaker, stomping around like a caged animal. He smirked at the couple touring the place, muttered something about rats in the attic. I called the cops. Didn't press charges. Just made sure there was a record. That was the last time he tried. In the meantime, I boxed up what I wanted. My tools, my records, the small things that never asked anything of me. I left the rest. Let them see how empty the house looked without the man who kept it alive. A month later, it sold. I moved into a small studio near the repair shop. Just one room, bed in one corner, tool bench in the other. Kettle. A fan. A fold-out chair I bought at a garage sale. It wasn't pretty, but it was mine. No more silence pretending to be peace. No more sideways looks at dinner. No more eyes that saw right through me. Just me. And that quiet that wasn't cruel but clean. Carolyn called once. Said it was all a misunderstanding. That Trevor didn't mean it. That she was stuck in the middle. I told her, you picked silence. I picked the door. Then I hung up. She didn't call again. Trevor never reached out. And I didn't expect him to. Because the truth is, I stopped fixing what didn't want repair. They thought I was bluffing. The morning after the sale finalized, I left the keys in the lockbox and walked away. Not just from the house, but from the entire version of myself that bled to keep them warm. They didn't believe it at first. Carolyn's voice was hoarse on the phone the day the final paperwork was filed. Where are we supposed to go? She asked. You know Trevor still has school, right? I told her I did. She asked again. Are you really going to let this happen? I said nothing. Because it wasn't happening to them, it was happening because of them. They stayed at her friend's place at first. One bedroom, a futon in the living room. Carolyn slept on the couch. Trevor took the floor. They tried to keep it light on social media. Pictures of takeout and jokes about transitional living. But the jokes dried up fast. The fourth night, Trevor called. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. You think this proves something? You think this makes you a man? His voice cracked near the end. I listened to the whole thing, then deleted it. Let them feel what life's like when the one who always fixed it doesn't. I heard from Diane later. Said Carolyn tried to contest the sale. Claimed she had rights because of verbal agreements. Diane laughed about it. You did everything by the book, Brian. Don't let her twist that. I didn't. I never had my name on Trevor's school forms. Never adopted him. Never married Carolyn. Every receipt, every loan, every bill, mine alone. They never noticed that. Never realized the roof over their heads was held up by nothing but my silent will. Until it vanished. They floated for a few weeks, crashing with friends, couch surfing. Trevor hated it. He'd grown used to space, to hot showers and quiet nights and stocked fridges. He didn't like sharing a bathroom with toddlers. Didn't like being told to clean up after himself. His friends stopped inviting him out. No gas money. No weekend trips. No backup. He messaged me again. Shorter this time. Why are you doing this? I didn't reply, because that question had lived inside me for 7 years, and he never once asked it then. Carolyn called a few days later. Said Trevor was struggling. That school was getting harder. That he was emotionally overwhelmed. I asked if his biological father had offered to help. She went quiet. I knew the answer before she spoke. That man had vanished again. Same as always. Long enough to avoid involvement, short enough to still be mythologized. Can we meet? She asked. Just talk. I told her. You had 7 years to talk. I'm listening to the silence now. She hung up without saying goodbye. I expected guilt. But what I felt was clarity. Because peace doesn't always come from forgiveness. Sometimes it comes from departure. I kept working, fixing other people's problems. Machines made more sense. They don't lie. Don't take without giving. Don't sit in your house, eat your food, and still look at you like you're a stranger. I saved money. For the first time in years, I saw my account grow instead of bleed. I slept better, ate better, laughed. Real, ugly laughs that cracked my chest open. At nothing in particular. Just the joy of weight gone. And every so often I'd hear things. Trevor dropped out of soccer. Grades slipped. Carolyn's car got towed. She started posting vague quotes on Facebook. You never know what someone's going through. Appreciate the ones who stay. Funny. None of those quotes showed up when I was patching drywall with an ice pack on my knee. Trevor turned 20 that year. He moved in with his father. I heard through someone at the hardware store, Trevor's dad had remarried. Had 2 younger kids. Smaller house. Less room. Less tolerance. No more guitar lessons. No more therapy appointments I used to quietly schedule. No more Uber rides after parties. No more birthday cash. No more anything. Carolyn called again. This time I answered. She said she didn't expect me to come back. Just wanted to clear the air. I waited. She said Trevor had been through a lot. That he was lashing out. That his comment that night, the sentence, was just a moment of frustration. I listened, then said, no, it was a moment of truth. She was quiet. I told her that silence has weight. That saying nothing is saying something. That standing by while your child erases the man who raised him isn't neutrality. It's betrayal. She said she didn't know what to say then. I said, you still don't. She cried. I didn't. I wished her well. Then I hung up for the last time. Trevor is 20 now. He lives with his real father, finally. The man he once praised in absentia, whose ghost shadowed every conversation, every dismissal. The man whose absence I was supposed to fill without ever being acknowledged. But here's the thing about ghosts. When they finally arrive in the flesh, they're never as tall as the stories made them. Trevor doesn't post pictures anymore. The guitar his real dad promised to replace is still broken. He's working weekends now, something in landscaping. The Instagram captions have changed. Less bravado. More silence. And not the kind that comes from peace. The last I heard, his dad's new wife doesn't like mess. Doesn't like noise. Doesn't like him sleeping late or eating more than he earns. Their place is small, tidy, and filled with expectations Trevor never had to meet before. No more money slipped into his wallet, just because. No car insurance paid without question. No emergency dental visits covered by a man who wasn't asked to. He's learning now what it means to depend on someone who sees you as a burden, not a son. What it means when support comes with strings and suddenly you're the one doing the pulling. I watch it from a distance. I don't gloat. I don't celebrate. But I don't help either. Because some lessons only stick when they're felt in the bone. Carolyn tried one more time. A letter. Handwritten. Said she missed me. Said she wished things had been different. That maybe we all moved too fast. That maybe we needed more time. She wrote, "You were the man who kept everything going. I see that now. But here's the thing, clarity after the damage isn't clarity. It's cleanup." She asked if I'd ever consider reconnecting. Maybe just for coffee. I never wrote back. Because she didn't lose me in one night. She lost me inch by inch. Every time she looked away. Every time she let silence speak louder than loyalty. That house, they didn't just lose it. They never owned it. Not in the way that matters. They lived in it. Slept under its roof. But they never understood what it cost to build. And I don't just mean money. I mean me. The hours I gave. The injuries I worked through. The birthdays I paid for. The field trips, the groceries, the heat that stayed on during winter because I picked up extra shifts. All invisible. Until it was gone. Now, when I walk through my studio, small as it is, plain as it is, I feel peace. The kind that comes not from reconciliation, but from reclamation. I am not angry anymore. I am clean. I fix things again. Machines, not people. I come home to silence. But it's not empty. It's honest. It doesn't ask me to sacrifice. Doesn't take and call it love. Sometimes I think about Trevor. I wonder what he tells people when they ask about his childhood. Does he mention the man who bought him his first suit for prom? Who stayed up all night helping with math even though he never finished school himself? The man who once drove 3 hours to pick him up when a party turned sour and no one else answered? Does he remember? Or does he only recall the day the locks changed? Maybe both. Maybe that's enough. Because I wasn't perfect. I wasn't even always kind. But I was there. And now I'm not. That's the lesson. That people like me, men who give quietly, who hold families together without needing to be crowned, eventually stop giving. That love without respect isn't love. It's servitude. And I stopped serving. So if anyone asks me, was it worth it? I say this, love is only love when it's returned. And if you were told, clearly, repeatedly, that you meant nothing, would you keep paying? Would you stay?